Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
On the Wrestling Hand.
that's right.
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.
Hello, friends. I'm your pal in the mainstream media.
And I'm your Riz.
And, you know, Riz, it takes years of strenuous, dedicated training before you're worthy to step inside a professional wrestling ring. But it takes even more time to develop complex, highly astute opinions about professional wrestling. Am I right?
That is correct. You know where we can find that?
Yes,
On the Wrestling Hand.
that's right.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com. This show is brought to you by Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza. Production services by Sidekick Media Services. And listeners like you, supporting us at patreon.com/awesomecast. It's time to get geeky, get awesome. It is the AwesomeCast, episode 700. We are here with you, and we got a lot of fun stuff. We got a little bit of experiment going, too. And I have a soundboard as soon as my iPad charges. Anyways, there's no battery in there. Anyways, we do have with us from the ocean is the Dutters.
Literally just in the ocean.
In the just waiting in the ocean. That sound suppression is amazing if you're on the podcasting. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, look, a jellyfish.
Mm-hmm. Dream. Wait,
Dream. Yeah,
dream.
that
Wait,
reverse.
Dream until your dreams come true.
There you go. The recently televised. Wait, is this your? You were literally here last night and you're at the ocean. I'm like, I didn't even know you were doing this. What is happening? This. You're just like. Listen, I'm a TV star now. I was on afternoon daytime television in Pittsburgh. I just need to.
Yep, I had to leave. I was too famous.
You were. What is that show? Is it the Talk, the Pittsburgh Talk, or something like that on KDKA?
Talk Pittsburgh.
Talk Pittsburgh. Thank you. My mom knows it. She DVR'd it. So did yours, apparently. So what were you talking about on there for those that didn't catch it? It's all over the Facebook. Actually, I'll share it with the group right now.
So I work for 412 Thrive, which is a breast cancer support organization. And last night we had a karaoke night at the Hard Rock, and it was all show tunes, and everybody had a great time. There was like 50 some people there.
Wow.
I did not sing.
That's I think I was at a costume karaoke before the Three Rivers Comic Book Comic Con did previously. It is an experience. So did you have judging and everything like that there? I know you popped in a little later.
Nah, just doing
for funsies. Just for funsies. That's perfect. Awesome. Well, we'll get into it. Also, I think this is the first time you've been in studio for this show, right?
Right.
Dave Podner is here.
Yeah,
I'm
on the comfy couch.
On
yes.
the comfy couch.
On the very comfy couch. Yes.
Yes. Brought a cookie cake. So, thank you so much, Dave, for coming in and hanging with me here. And we're celebrating. No, hold on. I got a fun little thing for us to do in the second half here. And Katie, there's a link in there. Let me know if it works for you. I think you saw it before. So I'm curious. I don't know if you have to pay for it to make it work. If not, I'll just be your guide on this thing. But let's get into our awesome thing of the week. The thing I think we've mostly been doing for 700 episodes. I don't know if we had awesome things in the first episode. Well, we can ask something later if that's what it is. Anyways, who wants to go first on your awesome thing of the week? I see, Podner, you have something spacey.
Yes, I do have something spacey. And this is something different. So SpaceX is doing the first private spacewalk.
Okay.
Because all the other spacewalks up to now have either been NASA or the Soviet/Russian space agency. So this is SpaceX on its own. They're handling it a little bit different.
Okay.
First of all, they're going up.
What, SpaceX doing something different?
Yeah, exactly. There's a couple things that make me a little bit nervous, to be honest. It is the highest space flight since the Apollo. So it's going 750 feet up. I'm sorry, 750 miles up.
Okay.
It's going to go so far up, it's actually getting out of the protective magnetic field for radiation. So basically, NASA has a thing that says you can only go up so many times before you get a lifetime amount of radiation.
Okay.
And these astronauts, because it's a 5-day mission, they're going to max out in this. They're going to say, you've hit your lifetime max of radiation for health and safety reasons. You cannot be astronaut. Now, of course, who knows? They could go to Russia and do it or somewhere else. But and the other thing is the way the other spacewalks have done before now, is you basically have, like we see in science fiction, you have your area where the air and the pressure is. The astronaut gets suited up, goes to a decompression thing. In that little room area, all the pressure goes out. They go out, they do their spacewalk, they come back in, shut the outside door, repressurize that, and then come back in. That way, there's one astronaut who's always in a safe, sealed area. In fact, the first American astronaut who did a spacewalk had some issues, and there was talk of what happens if we have to cut them go. And just kind of cut the cord and let them
like you always see in the movies, right?
Pretty much, yeah. They had that plan. Well, with SpaceX, they don't have that. They're just going to pop open the nose, depressurize everything. So all 4 astronauts will have to be suited up, have their spacewalk, come back in, repop the nose in.
So there's no backup in the thing?
No, there's no backup.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, is that if something happens and they can't seal back up,
they're done.
You lose all 4 people pretty much.
They're done. They're done. This is at great risk. I think that was so. I mean, it's it's interesting. You have your move back fast and break things that's been happening with SpaceX, and that's fine when we're blowing up rockets themselves. But when we're talking about people involved, and of course the people know like the
Right,
risks in
right,
this.
right.
Like this is not like, hey, we're setting it up and everything's going to be just fine and whatever. Like there's got to be an understanding of some sort on this thing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
And
know?
then the thing is, the 4 people going up, 2 people are SpaceX employees. In fact, they're 2 of the early SpaceX employees.
Okay.
One's a retired Air Force pilot, and then a billionaire who's funding the whole thing.
Wait, the billionaire is going to go on a spacewalk
Yes.
and risk this stuff?
Yes.
What is okay?
Yeah. Does not sound like anything at all that we heard maybe
Okay.
last year that dealt with people going in a submarine with the billionaire. No, it doesn't sound related to that at all. No.
It's basically the same thing, isn't it? It really is. Like if you got the money,
Space ocean.
yeah, the
Sky ocean.
I mean, it's basically the same problem.
Yeah. The only thing is that I trust SpaceX better than the ocean people.
Okay.
Okay. Just because, like they said, with the ocean thing that happened,
I feel like
they were running it off
anybody
an old
can
controller.
Anybody can put something they made in the ocean. You're not going through something. To put something in, like you kind of have to go through NASA at this point, right? You can't just. I don't think SpaceX has their own like launch pad, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they are launching from Kennedy Space Center.
Right, typically.
Yeah, the same, and they're doing the same pad they use for all the other crewed missions.
Sure.
Which is the pad they use for the Apollo missions.
Okay.
So that's good, but this is 100% SpaceX still. So, and because the billionaire's funding it, it's not unlike other SpaceX missions, which are funded by taxpayer money. This is independently funded, and everything's done outside of government funding.
Okay.
So this is the first time, So there are, like I said, there's risk involved. Not having extra backup is always a little, but if you've in my mind, if you tested it enough, whether it's a risk or maybe they're doing it to save a little extra money by removing one redundancy, I can't get in the engineer's head or the project approver's head.
Yeah, you don't know the rest.
Exactly. But now the thing is, it is scheduled to launch tomorrow. It was scheduled to launch a little bit earlier. They had a hydrogen leak. I think it was a leak of something. I think it was hydrogen. They fixed it, and so it's scheduled to launch tomorrow down from Florida.
Okay.
So it like I said, it's new stuff happening is exciting, and more people getting involved. Like India's going to launch soon, and it's going to be a test launch of their crewed vehicle, which they hope to have a crewed vehicle next year.
And the more I hear other countries are doing this, like the more I think, like I watched For All Mankind, or obviously it's like, what if the Soviets got there first, and then what happens from there, and then it means like everything gets moved forward. Like you need pressure, If nothing else, is like we need to get there so they don't take it over. Like all the resources, whatever it is, Tell somebody they're going to put a space laser on the moon, they're probably going to want to fund NASA, for instance. So yeah, whether reasonable or not, that's that. I mean, that's it. I mean, it's all kind of pressure. But unfortunately, privatization, when they see an opportunity, that's the thing that's going to push it, for better or for worse. And then we've all seen Alien. So we've seen that movie, but that's the only way it's going to move forward, I think. So. I don't know, Katie. How do you feel about the spacewalk? By your reactions.
But it's like, this sounds familiar.
I've seen this movie. I want to.
I've seen this movie.
Maybe we'll send a bunch of oil drillers up. We got some reaction from trashing Armageddon last week, by the way. You have some comments to respond to, Katie.
Oh, good.
Yes. Over on the TikTok, yes. Anyways, AwesomeCast on TikTok. Please follow us for the fun clips so you can comment on very specific parts of the show that we put out, or see like 5 clips of me talking about DuckDuckGo, apparently, because that's what we ended up with. Anyways, we'll see what happens with this. SpaceX, for better or worse, is doing good. Hell, they're going to save astronauts apparently from space when Boeing has failed everybody. So yeah. Anyways, well, I'm not going to comment on that. Katie, what's your awesome thing of the week?
Oreos.
Some more ASMR.
Yeah, is this gonna be open?
Oh, it is that time of the year.
Yep, these are pumpkin spice, not pumpkin spice, like I keep calling everything pumpkin spice Oreos. And yep, they look like Oreos. Inside is pumpkin-y goodness. Yeah, I'm just gonna be like everything Halloween-y that I find in fall. I'm just gonna do that every week for awesome.
Be a month of pumpkin spice objects.
They're really good. They actually taste kind of like pumpkin pie.
Okay. Ooh.
Yeah. I'm definitely like, I'm not a huge like Oreo. I mean, they do a good job with most flavors, but they're, you know, occasionally you'll get like, what's this? But yeah, thumbs up on the pumpkin spice Oreos. If you like pumpkin spice. If you don't, I would not suggest them, but pumpkin spice Oreos, big thumbs up.
And thank you for the heads up that they were doing pumpkin spice at Starbucks. I thought where's Dunkin', and I was like, why can't I find it on my app? Did you see the notice on the Dunkin' app though? Missy was showing.
I didn't.
I hadn't seen this, but Missy showed me this today. Because it sounds like Starbucks came out of nowhere with the pumpkin spice and surprised them.
Did we have this conversation? Who did I have this? I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday.
I swear Missy was the one showing me, or what did you show me last night? That might be. I don't know. I might be. It's been a long 24 hours.
Oh, you did, because I came over and played Turtles.
That's right. But
oh yeah, play with us on the internet with Turtles.
Yes, absolutely. Tell them what the message was, since you're the one that showed it to me. I thought it was Missy today, but.
Oh, you're fine. So I had gotten a pumpkin spice chai tea at Starbucks, and I told you to do it, and you tried to order it, couldn't find it. So a couple days later, yesterday, we got emails from Dunkin', and essentially it was like pumpkin spice coming soon to Dunkin', which is very unusual because usually it's Starbucks, Dunkin', one by one, like same time, doing within days. But I'm suspecting that Starbucks scooped Dunkin' this year on the pumpkin spice situation, and Dunkin' was not prepared because I did not hear any rumblings of like usually we hear things from Starbucks like, oh, the pumpkin spice coming soon, and they tease it, and this year was nothing. So I think they scooped Dunkin', and Dunkin' is said it will be soon.
Coming soon. Look out for it. Stay tuned. No problem. there's
you know how folks like we've been in marketing for a while, and you're like, there's your telltale signs.
Well, I did read that this is the earliest they did pumpkin spice whatever at Starbucks. I think ever. I mean, it's August.
But it hit when it felt like fall, at least in this region, right?
Right. Unlike today where it was
90
degrees.
It was 93 degrees on my watch when I went out there. I'm well air conditioned here in this studio, and I walked outside to go grab our sponsor pizza, and it hit me in the face so hard. It's just pretty wild. Anyways, first shots fired in the Great Pumpkin Spice War of 2024. I'm here for it. I've been abstaining from the pumpkin spice because I realized you could get the coffee pods all year round. I stopped it a few years. So I can appreciate the season. I get them when I don't want the season to end, and then you got to come back around. It has to be new again, right? So, anyways. So my awesome thing is something we've been using for a few weeks here, and it's not much going on because we don't get a lot of random chatters here for this show, but for the wrestling shows, it's been a pretty amazing helper on this. So I was looking for something, and there's a few programs that are Windows only and things out there, but I was looking at something more browser based. I like a good multi-chat. Restream was really good for this, and I know we can't get everything because not everything like Facebook chat doesn't play well. Last I knew with Restream when we were using it. It's been a little while since we used Restream itself. So what I found was this is actually something of a freebie that somebody put out there. Apparently, I'm guessing this is a programmer or something like that. This is a multi-stream. If you go to streamchat.colinhorn.co.uk, you will find just Stream Chat. Now we use it Twitch and YouTube for shows like this, obviously, but you actually have some drop downs to do TikTok, to do Kick. that I know some people are using. It's another gaming kind of a Twitch competitor. Apparently, you can stream to YouTube Shorts according to this, which I guess we send vertical video. We could do that, but we don't really do. You can turn things on and off as you go, and it's kind of nice depending on what it is. Like the Twitch and the TikTok, you just drop in your username, and when you go live, it's going to pop in there. For YouTube, you have to like drop in the URL for the specific video that you're looking for, and then on Thursday nights and last Friday night when we're doing our shows from 880 Wrestling, the Mama Dutters drive by on the other feed. It's just distracting me.
With a margarita.
With a margarita.
She just shushed me.
I know what a vacation Mama Dutters is like. But no, it's really handy for that. So, because I have commentators and they read the stream, and I was like pulling them up in 2 tabs and side by side and all this stuff. But now that we're adding the TikTok and experimenting with that and finding ways to get this TikTok feed out as well, now there's one place that they can look at, and the commentators are, and they're, and Toddy Tondera of the Thrifty podcast that we've done stuff with in the past, is really good about looking at that and responding to them and responding to their comments and bringing that into the commentary for the wrestling matches and the reactions and everything like that. So that's been it's free. And again, there's other ones that I think they're pay and download and Windows only, and that's just a pain in the butt to be like, oh, do I have one that's set up for this? Do I have a PC? And it gets a little iffy when it comes to those kinds of things. But this is really good. Again, streamchat.colinhorn.co.uk. I can't remember if I did this before. I never went to the root domain to see what else they do. This has to be some kind of programmer or something, right? So I'm going to do the scary thing and look at it here live on the air. No, it's just stream tools. Colin Horn apparently just makes stream tools, widgets and tools. I've been using this for like 3 weeks or a month or something, and this is the first time I've looked at it. Looking for some handy streaming widgets or tools. I have created things for every streamer to use. Styler for your stream elements or Streamlabs, free and coming soon. Oh, there you go. Oh, so he's got a lot of stuff going on. He's got a browser timer, a chat dashboard, a chat styler. Okay, there. It doesn't even have. Oh, I guess the chat board is. Yeah, that's what we're using actually. So, and you can kind of. You can't really tell with 2 of them, but let's see if I turn all these on. You can kind of see how you can kind of reformat this thing as you go too. So you can go, make them columns, or you can put them in a square if that's what fits for you. So really good. Really good option there, and it's been very helpful for us on our pro wrestling live streams here in the on Thursdays and Fridays. So awesome. Anyways, so want to give a shout out. I don't know when we started Patreon. Was there a Patreon when we started? That's something I got to ask as well. But thank you to everybody that does support the show over there on Patreon. Really, really helpful to it's helped motivate the show to keep going. To be quite honest, because it's nice to know people actually care enough to be part of the Patreon. So thank you everybody that does support us. On the Coffee Club level is Cynthia Klosky. At the Fan of the Show level, Michael Fedor, John DeGore, and in here in the studio and supporting us, Dave Bonner, spouse of Roost Jewelry Affair at roostjewelryaffair.com. Thank you so much, Dave, for supporting the show.
Always.
I can say personally to you directly. Yes.
And I can say that I just looked up. Patreon started in May of 2013.
2013. So we were late to Patreon. I wonder what we were trying to do before then. I think I heard an Audible ad at the beginning of the show. We had like affiliate codes. We never made a dime off of it, but we sounded like every other podcast that was, or maybe none of us were making money. I don't know. Maybe it was just the Twit Network that was making money off of it. Oh man, riding the wave. So I did something here, and let me see if this is finished, and maybe I'll have to update this in a moment. So we talked a few weeks ago about an app called Mac Whisperer. And let me see if that's done. Oh, it's still working away. But so the first 5 episodes are loaded. This. So I'm. This is now it's the AI era, right? So I'm taking the ChatGPT. I've taken Mac Whisperer, which is an LRM that's going to transcribe everything, put it in a ChatGPT, and now we can ask questions of it. But I have to plug my computer in because it's about to die, or else this is going to be a really, really short segment. And I'm trying to figure out which tab it's in. So in the meantime, I did... while I'm going to go to get this, Katie, do you have your phone handy for messages?
I do, but I wasn't able. I tried to click it in Slack. and
That's
it
fine. That's
told
fine. I
me-
took some choice quotes if you wanted to look at these real
Ooh.
quick.
Oh, boy.
So I asked it, definitely look at the second part where we have quotes about the iPad in 2010. And this is from our first 3 or 4 or 5 episodes. I might not have loaded 4 and 5 in by then.
I love the iPad. I think that it has excellent potential for being a way to deliver the information to our readers. It is still very early in the process.
I think newspaper man Uncle Crappy was on the show.
It makes sense. Ooh, oh, I feel like we should play a game of guess the quote.
Guess the quote. Who made it? Yeah, because unfortunately, like I said, we don't have like who said things. We just have the text of the conversation that we're plugging in there.
Ooh, I have the next one. Who said this? I've probably sold at least 10 iPads in the process because it's just that amazing. It's something that a lot of people talk about, but you really don't get it until you have it in your hands.
See, I don't know if that was somebody that was working at Apple at the time, or just like talks to other people about it. Because I feel like that's something.
I'm betting it's Amanda.
I don't think Amanda was on the show then. I don't
Ooh,
know.
this is exciting.
I think it's Rob De La Creta because like he very much was it still is a advocate for technology, if you will, right? I mean, Chilla says that too. It says I basically sold 3 of these things to people because I told them what it was about or handed it to them or something like that. Like that sounds like a Chilla thing if I knew that Chilla wasn't on the show yet. So, anyways, okay, I have power now. What do you want to ask of the first 5 episodes of AwesomeCast? Do we have anything? Apparently, we were talking about the Nintendo 3DS. So we were talking about the, I think you see some quotes there of the Xbox Kinect. Apparently, was just announced. And we had a rumor that it was starting at $150, and we thought that was too much at the time.
I cannot see $150 being worth it to me at this point. It's a fantastic technology. I'd love to get my hands on it.
What do you want from 2010 there, Dave?
Oh. So mostly about those 3 items, or you just want to try?
No, just in general.
Oh.
Because I just asked what we were excited about now they updated this for the 5 episodes. The OnLive service. Do we remember OnLive? This was basically the precursor of what we know now as NVIDIA GeForce and the Xbox Cloud, all the cloud gaming. They're one of the first ones that did this, and they did not last. So, because it turns out the internet wasn't ready for it. Yeah, so we talked about how you could potentially stream to your iPad that we were very excited about, right? It all comes together, right, Katie?
I
Shocked.
you know what? I think I sort of remember that because I tried to use it to stream my Windows desktop to my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Before the iPad.
Yeah, because it was basically just a computer you logged into.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, yeah, I think they had a gaming side of the service and they had a business side of the service
Yeah.
that was just remote desktop, which is things Shadow PC and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's services you can do that. I think there's a Mac service you can log into too, or basically Amazon Web Services, right?
And I was just thinking, because I was still teaching at University of Phoenix at the time, if I could just take that iPad versus a desktop, but still have access to everything. Because not everything was mobile ready. Websites and everything, they still didn't work. There was so much Flash stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't work on the iPad. So, sorry, you just couldn't go there. So, yeah, that would be, oh, God.
I'm going to say some words here.
Okay.
And I'm just going to leave it on you guys for reactions. Okay. iPhone 4 and iOS 4 were coming up. This is probably June, July, and August of 2010. So we were probably in this kind of mode where we just had an Apple announce the date for the next releases.
Mm-hmm.
Hulu Plus was just announced. There was no Plus. It was all ad supported before then, I believe.
Back in my day.
In my
Yeah.
day, yes.
And anything mentioned about Android?
I don't see Android as on the what we were excited about according to
Okay.
this GPT. Google Me.
It's probably one of the messaging services that they popped up and then died off because Google has an issue with messaging services.
I think it's Google Plus. I think it was an early name for Google Plus. I like because it sounds like it was not out yet or anything like that. Yeah, the quote is, I've been talking to a lot of people about this, and the way I see it, I mean, we need an alternative to social media. Okay. If they can knock it out of the park and create something that meshes together all of your social networks, I think this could be a big player in the game of social media. Well, that didn't work out too well, did it? Windows 8 rumors. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Windows 8. They're building on a Windows application store, very similar to the way the iPhone has an app store. Well, there's still a store, but the rest of it, I mean, well, really, that was part of it. And I can't say the store is very good necessarily, other than the Xbox side of things, because I feel like the apps in it are very like iffy. Yeah, they're just as iffy as going up to the web and be like, what is this website I'm downloading from? You know, well, you look up DVD player, DVD software, not DVD software, but yeah, this software and encoders and things like that. They're real sketchy looking. And I don't know what it is. And maybe that's the same stuff as like I'm downloading like Downy and, you know, user or not a developer made independent things from, you know, from sites, you know, like Mac Whisperer and stuff like that. I'm not worried about them for some reason, but I am worried when I hit download in the actual Windows Store. But maybe that's just a perception thing on my side because I'm more on the Mac side.
Honestly, I don't get a chance to download from the Windows Store because my Windows machine is a work laptop and they lock it down, where you need administrator access to pretty much install everything, which makes perfect sense in a corporate situation. You don't want someone going off downloading a little goofy program, all of a sudden you crash your business.
We were talking about iOS 4 potentially coming to MacBooks and the implications of an app-driven environment on the MacBook, which I think we're just now getting to. Well, we probably didn't have an app store on the Mac yet.
No, that
right?
I think that came later. Yeah.
Yeah, much later.
And it's still, you can still, if you will, sideload on the Mac. So it isn't as. I know the big fear was, are they going to lock it down as much as they locked down the iPhone? And they never really did.
Google venturing into social media is a big thing on here. Google Plus and streaming services. The evolution of podcasting evolved from a niche hobby to more mainstream medium by then. Yep.
It's so funny, even to think about podcasting went from like burr to like popular to back again.
We drew all the money out of this, and everybody's mad because Spotify ruined the podcasting industry. So, which is what happened, because that's what I hear the complaints about is like, you know, Spotify's made everybody go to their app, which is not podcasting at that point. It's just an app that provides radio shows, you know, talk shows and things like that. You know, and they paid all this money to Joe Rogan and all these other guys, and they were able to get in their advertisers in mass across those big names, get stats that no other podcaster with an RSS feed can possibly do. You know, like it's against the technology of what it is and the democratization of it. There needs to be and I don't know what this answer is, because so many like Apple Podcasts now are. Oh, I'm going on for a rant here. Apple Podcasts now and other services are like kind of like, you know, hey, the stats through us, do subscriptions through us, like they're becoming their own services within. The RSS feed is still there, but like to get like all the quote unquote good stuff as a bigger player, you gotta go through all their systems that are proprietary, or Patreon or something like that. You know, what needs to happen is to, and I don't think this is going to happen because I think every podcast also has a YouTube channel too. Because I mean, who does what significant podcast has an audio only version these days? Like, I feel like it doesn't exist to a certain extent.
Well, it depends on what you mean by significant, because honestly, I listen to all my podcasts through Overcast,
which you can, but how many of them have a video version?
Well, that's the thing. I really don't, in terms of, and you got to say, a video version of the podcast versus a video like I listen to
A
the
podcast version of the video.
well, I listen to the morning stream.
Yes.
They don't have a video podcast because they don't put out on their podcast stream a video version.
No. I mean very particularly.
But they do have a video.
They have a video version, video stream.
Yeah,
you know,
they're
Twitch,
live. They're
YouTube,
live
something
stream.
like that.
Their YouTube.
Yeah. Like for instance, like I know, so I'm like, oh, I want to start listening to my podcast for YouTube Music. It just runs through YouTube.
Right.
And you go on YouTube. Like I think I'm aware of the only way you can get a podcast into YouTube Music is to have a YouTube channel with your show and label it as a playlist that's a podcast, and then it shows up over there. There's there's live streams that, like our podcast. I'm redoing how we're putting our podcast because, this live stream that has the music in the beginning is all that I would put out on the YouTube stream. But now that I know that's what people click on when they're looking for a podcast in YouTube Music, which is not an insignificant number of people, I'm like, man, now I need to edit the show and cut that off and make the audio a little bit better because people are just listening to that video file as a podcast. So now I can't be like, well, this is a stream, so that's fine. If people don't want the video, it's fine. It's not perfect. It's not going to be in people's headphones as much. It's going to be more on TVs and the phone and stuff. Now it's like, no, that's the same thing. They changed the mechanism, and now I have to change my mechanism to make it make sense.
Yeah, I saw a news story saying that the new breakdown percentage of where people listen to podcasts, 31% YouTube. 20-some% is Spotify and 12% is Apple.
So Apple isn't even significant. I'm really curious because we just reboot a podcast feed, and I had to be like, we have to do video versions. We have to do something video, placeholders, because we're in that like, hey, some of these are audio only, some of these we're starting to do video versions. Thankfully, a lot of the tools and services were already there. Things like Zencaster are tremendous now. If you're doing something like this, we do live, so I'm not going to use it. If we're post editing, use something like that. I'm not going to get into that right now.
Even on YouTube, people just putting the audio up with an image.
Absolutely,
and that's what people are doing. Yep. That's what people are doing. Just that right there.
Yeah, and we had to. I think I need to have a discussion with one of our network partners because they do simply an audio only version, and I don't think they have a YouTube channel that they're putting clips, but I was like, you gotta put that. Because I literally can't listen to Roddick on the Line is one that of all that I listen to, that's the only one where it's like, oh, I got to go to Apple Podcasts because they don't have a YouTube presence. Therefore, I cannot listen to it in the YouTube Music app. Therefore, they are the outlier in how I listen to things, which means, what did you say? YouTube's what, 30
I think it's all 31%.
Is that the highest percentage now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, you don't have your show on YouTube. That's a problem.
Right.
You're cutting yourself off at the knees. That's a third of the audience can't get to you anymore. So.
But even if you add up YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, you're still talking under 70%. So there's 30% that are listening in other ways, like so segmented, so little segmented.
But again, it used to be easy. I put out an RSS feed and it can go out to everything. That's not the case anymore. Like, I can't say go get a podcast host and go, but then also some people are just going to put their stuff on YouTube. So now we have to, this is the Facebook is my webpage for my business conversation again. It's like, no, you don't need just, it seems like you just need this, but you do also need this because of X, Y, and Z. So, Katie, have you run into these conversations at all in your business dealings with your clients?
Oh, I just want to be the troublemaker and be like, well, what's a podcast? Like, what are we defining as a podcast?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
It's
is talk radio podcast?
Yeah. Exactly. And that used to be the conversation. And, I started talking video podcasts with somebody. I was like, well, I don't know if that's even a podcast. I was like, it's not. That's just what we call it. I had to stop them halfway through the conversation. I'd be like, hey, listen, the terminology is all wrong, but we got to agree what we're talking about here.
Well, especially since the device the podcast was named after
no
longer exists.
No. Yes, exactly. And the war for netcast failed. So
Yes. By the way, I just double checked on the iPhoneography podcast, talking about podcast, available where all 5 podcasts are available, and our YouTube channel. And under the podcast tab, Greg, they are all listed there. All 191 episodes are listed underneath the iPhoneography on YouTube. So, and just recently we started to actually go live on YouTube. And
feels like you have to now.
Yeah.
It really does. Even if it's not the cleanest version of your show.
and it's
You know?
also the easiest way for us to do chat.
Yeah.
Because that way we don't you're not required to have someone create a Facebook password, login, and so many people hate Facebook.
I mean, and that's why we go to so many places, because I want it to be, I want to go where people are, where it's accessible to them. You know, you don't want a barrier. So it's just like, you know, and I know most things require a login, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, you know, I suppose Twitter, if you wanted to stream to that, which we're starting to do in some other shows. But it's so fascinating, and it's such an evolution, and I'm kind of glad I don't do PodCamp anymore. People keep saying, should we come and bring it back? I'm like, yeah, not me. But no, it's been interesting to go from even the evolution. This has been really kind of confounding me lately, because a lot of what I've wanted to do, I would say I take cues off the Twit Network, who like built this big studio and everything. So that was kind of the dream, is to have a studio. And now Leo's in his attic, and they're all using StreamYard. It's like, and everybody's using StreamYard now. And then and they're like bigger podcasts, and with you know, and all this, but also like somebody pitched using StreamYard for like a live show with an audience, and I said, this is a terrible idea. Especially if you're going to do like a pay-per-view kind of system. And I hear all the problems that are exactly why I'd rather have a physical studio. Even just, you know, bringing people in over Zoom or something like that, I would still rather do that than, you know, in a studio environment, than everybody is God knows where, and we're just using a web-based, you know, stream. Basically, it's like you're just streaming from Zoom at that point, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's got some nice bells and whistles, but man, when it doesn't work and it's just nothing you can do, that's a really maddening thing. And I'm watching like these professionals like going through it, and I was like, man, it's growing pains, I'm sure, but you know, for them converting, but it's seeing everybody move to that. It is a lot easier to that. And also, I'm gonna grape here real quick. You know how we do our podcasts. I think we do a very good quality podcast visually here. Okay. Some people just like throw up a webcam next to each other, or 4 or 5 on a screen, and that's the show. And you see everybody picking their nose, and they do camera shots like this, and then things like that. And I'm just like, who's doing this? You know, that I find, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't typically watch it. I will listen to it, but I don't know. I don't know what that is. And it's big shows that are doing that too, you know. Just doing the massive Fox News talking head thing, you know, for an entire hour. You know, is especially when you bring in a bunch of people that have varying things going on, you know, and you know, they're just like in their bedroom, you know, with a terrible webcam. It's just like, hey, I don't know.
It's a throwback to 4 years ago when everyone, even the big TV studios, had to everyone had to work from home.
Yep.
So they're on their webcams.
This is the style now. This is what we're used to. You know, it's hard to swallow for me. It's worked so hard for so long on quality for visual and audio, and then to see like, oh, we just don't care anymore. You know, I don't know. It's maddening. It's like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? Why am I working so hard? So, anyways, anything else we want to ask this machine? Oh, yeah, I was going to ask it if we were talking about artificial intelligence at all. Let's see if there's anything in there. Because that's definitely been a big change over the time. We did not directly talk about artificial intelligence. It did not come up, at least in our first 5 episodes in mid-2010.
You know what? Try asking, did you use the term retina?
Talking about displays?
Yeah.
I feel like we had a Retina display by then. Wasn't that like a late 2000s kind
That
of
well,
situation?
that's iPhone 4.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. The quote is, the screen is night and day for me compared to the 3G. Just as the 3GS a year ago is now a night and day. The screen is killer feature on that device. And talking about the iPhone 4 and the Retina display. Yes, absolutely. Anything
What
else
were you disappointed in?
at that time? Okay.
Yeah, like what was disappointing tech at that time?
There was some stuff up here about AT&T before. So I think there was some issues with Xbox I saw. iPhone 4 pre-order chaos. The pre-order process of iPhone 4 was a major frustration. AT&T's servers couldn't handle the demand, leading to a widespread issues with orders being canceled or delayed. Rob described it as really, quote, really amazing how much this went wrong with customers' information being handled poorly and orders being mysteriously canceled. I think it was several years before that became. They were disappointed, and the team was skeptical about the push towards motion-controlled gaming, particularly with Microsoft's Kinect. One member, I just bought a Kinect game, and now I can't find my Kinect. The other day, I found the Avengers game from the Xbox 360. One member expressed disappointment, saying, "I'm against the whole movement in video games. I want to sit down and play a video game. That's exactly what I want to do." I feel like Chilla has said that over the years as well, later in the show. Google Buzz and Wave. Do we remember Buzz and Wave? Buzz was like a weird social media-y thing, right?
Or was it? Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Google
'cause
Wave.
you buzzed.
Google Wave is kind of the precursor to what is Google Docs now, I think, where there's like the live editing kind of situation, because it was like kind of a whiteboard of sorts that you could put a lot of information in. I remember Genia Trapani being like, wrote a book on Google Wave, and then it canceled like 2 months later. Anyways, lack of user-friendly design and delayed essential features led to frustration. The team criticized Google for focusing too much on engineering at the expense of usability. Not much has changed. With one member saying there is no easy way to live in Wave, and then Buzz is another example. Google Buzz, man, hold on. I remember it was like a mild social media situation, wasn't it? Google. Oh wow, why is this Google? Wait, is it? No way, it's still live. No way. It was a social networking, microblogging, and messaging tool developed by Google. Okay. It's weird because DuckDuckGo gives me an address at the top for it. But okay, then we go to the Wikipedia page. Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, so it was Google Wave, which turned into Google Plus.
Okay.
And former location is google.com/buzz with 2 Z's.
2 Z's. Okay. We have more that we're unhappy with. You know, for me attempting to make this a positive show about technology, I really failed at it in the long run. Let's see. Facebook privacy issues, nothing new there. What disregard for user concerns were disappointing. The team mentioned that even with updates, Facebook's privacy controls remained overly complicated for the average user. Katie, as somebody who teaches Facebook to the elderly, is that still true?
It's like, nope, everything's fine.
Yes. Steam versus Games for Windows Live. Oh, God. I think they said that Steam, poor user experience from Games for Windows Live is accurate. They actually disabled it and had a patch that disabled it on some games, and I lost my Arkham Asylum save game. That's why I never finished it. So, and of course, you know, just Xbox everywhere, which is another one of those, why didn't we do this the whole time, guys? So, let's see. I had what we're excited. I've had between that. I think, man, we really kind of dug in there. I feel like I have a better sense of what we're talking about in 2010 than we've ever done this before. So eventually, my brainstorm, my brainchild is all of our podcasts go into a GPT like this, and we'd be like, when did Katie start using Plurk, and when did Dave how many times did Dave shoot the moon with his phone, and when did I get over my dislike of vertical video? So there could be some real trends that happen in there. So again, that's the ChatGPT thing. I didn't put it publicly. I guess I could put it publicly available, honestly. Actually, I would like to put it publicly available as a tool for that. So, Katie, did you say this doesn't load for you necessarily? I think you do have to have.
No.
I think you do have to be on the tier, like the first tier for it, pay tier for it to get into GPTs like this. So, sorry, but those who are, and of course, there's a lot of things going on. Dave, you did something with another AI recently.
Yeah, actually, that was Google's AI.
Yes, Google's AI.
That was
You made
Google's
this
AI.
image here.
So Google has removed from its lab the image generation, similar to what you can do in other ones, except that it actually spelled AwesomeCast correct.
Yes.
I did not ask it to do a person, so I was not able to count fingers. But seeing what other people have posted, these people are much more people-like. You get a much more realistic look, which is good in a way because it's showing you the technology gets better, but also scary because the easiest way to tell if, here's an image of so-and-so celebrity, and then you look at their hands, and then they have 6 fingers, or there's like a half of a finger, then another half of a finger in a weird direction.
Right.
And it's the
Because
easiest
what's
way to
the
tell.
rule when you're trying to determine AI?
You check the fingers. Yeah.
Check the fingers.
You check the little details, which AI can't do, but apparently Google can now do this. And this is public open. This is not paid.
Also, side note, Katie, I think you had count the tails from
Yeah.
from that Michael's art piece a few weeks ago.
The tails and the legs.
Tails and the legs, absolutely. So, no, it looks really cool. I mean, it looks very AI artsy,
Yeah.
of course. But the fact that it's getting the text tells me, like, oh no, this is the part where I started considering, oh no, should I start doing X over here? Not X, but that's a whole different site apparently. I hate the branding. Yeah, I think is this a trial? Is it paid? Is it public? Like where is
public.
this at?
It is public.
Okay.
It's free.
Okay.
It's still part of the labs part.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's still experimental.
Sure.
But anyone can
Listen,
use it.
when
You
it,
don't-
when it comes out, it's going to be experimental.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well, you still have to, and you still have to log in. So you have to log into your Google account.
It's
So,
gonna be-
but it's still public.
It's
That's
gonna
the
be,
thing.
I keep getting they're really pushing it on the workspaces applications. And Katie, you have some workspaces accounts too, right? Are you? If
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, like, are you getting those notifications at the top of the screen, trying to get you to try it out for at no cost? They're saying now.
Surprise! No, we
There
won't
you
make you pay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm interested in the idea of it being integrated, and therefore, but I'm not excited for paying like $30 per user per month on top of what I'm paying for workspaces right now. That's just not. And it doesn't feel like it's something that's ready for prime time. Eventually, I would love to have AI integration. I think is the killer app on most cases, which means you're going to have an account with Google, you're going to have an account with Apple to do this, or Apple will build it in, or whatever, or Microsoft's going to have their stuff. So, I think that's going to be the question with that.
Oh,
So-
and I did just put into the doc the link for the Google AI image, and it's aitestkitchen.withgoogle.com/ and it's like tools/image AI.
Okay. I'm showing cluttered artist studio, light shining through window, welcoming. Okay. Yeah, we'll play with that a little bit. So this is basically a lab thing. So it could be, maybe not use it for work kind of thing. I mean, well, also it's sketchy using it for work, but maybe for your podcast.
Yeah.
That doesn't, that has a handful of Patreon supporters. No big deal there, because you're definitely not affording an artist at that point. No. So, and that's what it is. And again, I qualify that for anybody. It's like, well, you could have hired somebody to do this. It's like, I'm not hiring you. Because I don't have the money to, and one of the artists that I was working with on something else on another project that they were just the person that was being used and I interfaced with just got hired by AEW. So it's just like, I'm definitely not using you because you're busy right now. So hey, not that he'd be listening to they'd be listening to the show, but congratulations to JCP for getting it became the dedicated merchandise art designer for AEW was announced today. So that's good to see people in the glow up like that. So
No, and people who have a lot of talent.
and JCP
And
does.
yeah, if you look at their designs, they are amazing, and they put the stuff to shame.
That's Katie. Remember the She-Rex stickers?
Yeah.
That's who they were from.
Aw.
It was the She-Ra as a T-Rex, I think, wasn't it? And then there was like a Mario boxing one I got for Chachi. There's these. I'm afraid to unplug this stuff. There's some great I got a Jake the Snake Roberts sticker on the back of my laptop. And did a lot of the posters for the 880 wrestling we were doing for several months. So I don't know who does them now, but they they have a good habit of finding artists that end up doing really good. So that's a good thing. If you see a poster that this poster artist is not going to be with us for long is kind of a good thing. Same with wrestlers too, I suppose. But yeah, no, very cool. So Image FX, that's AI Test Kitchen withgoogle.com/ oh god, this is whatever. And I apologize. I
Why
realize
can't they make an easy link?
all the links have not been getting in there because my own personal AI experiment, I've been trying to use AI to do the show notes, and I'm trying to take the links out of the sheet and put it in. And I went to look for something from last week and realized it wasn't in there. So I'm going to try to not do this at 3 a.m. when I vet these things. For instance, that's definitely a user error, making sure they're not getting done right. But anyways, Katie, do you have any other items on your mind? I don't see any in the doc before I go to this tip at the bottom.
I saw you calling me out with no losing the Amazon or the Facebook face filters.
Oh, it just felt like something you use. You're usually the one that's
like
always.
we did that.
What's that?
Yeah, we were, especially during the pandemic when we were playing games and stuff.
You're usually the one that brings me these cool new app features, especially with Snapchat and things like that, right? So no, you're the one that I thought of when it came up. So, and I wanted to get some comments from you. So apparently, the story is that Facebook or Meta, excuse me, has announced that they are going to be removing the AR filters in January 2025, along with some tools for making them, as Meta plans to shut down Spark Studio. Are you pouring one out here, Katie?
No, I'm questioning a lot of things right now of why, and I'm thinking that it has something else that they probably have on tap at this point.
So you think like a next generation of the AI or the AR kind of stuff, right?
I'm betting.
Okay.
Put that down as my prediction in August for next year.
August 2024. There you go. Oh,
and then we'll go back into Chat GPT and be like, didn't others predict?
Well, listen, when I
with-
put everything in the Chat GPT, we're going to say, hey, did we ever predict this was going to happen? That's one of the
Did
big
any of our
things.
prediction come true?
Yes. I mean, yeah, it won't be me, but like, okay, what did we do last year? Okay, how did we say that? What did we mean by that? It's going to be literally, I'm just going to ask you, was Chilla right about that thing, about the thing? You know, was Katie right about the AI, you know, not more than, you know, we'll let it determine it before we move on. So awesome. So this is, and Katie, please chime in on this because I have some opinions. My awesome tip of the week is more of a question. I hurt every time I say it this way. Is X Premium worth it for you? I'm
Are we creating sexy images?
Oh,
version
yes,
of
there's that.
things?
So if you're on Patreon, and I'll leave that part to your imagination, we were playing with, I've had a week, it was last Tuesday, because it was brand new. Oh, Dave just found the microphone. This is what happens when he's in person. He just knocks. He's getting, this is the I'm
go.
getting too comfortable situation. So... But anyways, so Missy picked up for IndieWrestling.us. She was doing some work and needed stats. And one of the things they took away so they could charge you for it, which I love this, is you know, the analytics. You don't see almost any of them anymore. You know, standard. Hey, look, you've hit this many impressions at the bottom between. That's it, right? And it goes to nothing. It goes to a page that doesn't even really kind of direct you to anything. which gave me pause for giving them money to get features back. But was this something that we are trying to grow, and everything? And Twitter is still, unfortunately, a place where that is happening in that vector with professional wrestling. We needed the information, so she paid the $8 a month or whatever. I'm like, well, if you're there, okay, cool, we'll start streaming stuff. And we had a really good experience streaming to the show Friday night to Twitter. Had a good bit of views in there. I loved it. It was us and Ryback. That's a joke for wrestling fans. But and you do get the analytics, you get some of the scheduling, like more robust scheduling, you get all that kind of stuff, and you do get the media studio, and you're able to use that. The other thing that we played with, and I don't think anybody needs this in this day and age, is Grok AI. Katie, how would you describe our experience with Grok AI last week when we were using the image generation?
So we were discussing how it doesn't have rails. Like, essentially, like everything else we've been playing with has parameters that it will not let you go crazy wild and do certain things. And we were testing that because we wanted to know if we could really do some things. And we had some sexy versions of movie and TV characters.
Yes.
Because we just started tossing it out to see it. And I think one of the most interesting things, and it was the fact of, yes, you could do more, but there was an obvious slant in the sexiness where one body was preferred over another body when you increase the sexiness, which I thought was pretty interesting. I'm just throwing that out there because I thought that was like, oh, okay, here we are. But yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, almost too good of a time with it. But it is like, copyrights are another issue. Like there's like people making Mickey Mouse with a MAGA hat with a cigarette in his mouth, stuff like that. It like very, very obvious. Like we were using Minnie Mouse in certain things. It did not sexify Minnie Mouse. I want to point out there. So I think like the pulling a shrink on this AI might be worthwhile to look at to see what doesn't happen. For instance, I said, show me a sexy girl. I got a picture of exactly what you expect. I show me a sexy man, and I got a black screen. You know what I mean? Like this is the kind of stuff that's happening in here. No, I don't think this is something that you should be using for the ways that we would use a Midjourney or ChatGPT AI. It's interesting, but it's kind of a give me. When you're paying for these other things, that is not a reason to pay for it. Now, if you are somebody that Twitter. So if hey, I'm new to this project, this is a conversation we have with wrestlers all the time. Man, I don't know if I should learn, should I get on Twitter and this and this and this and this? I was like, listen, where are you seeing the reaction? Where are you seeing the interaction? It's like for most cases, it's Instagram for professional wrestlers because it's a very visual medium, right? And Katie, we've talked about this, how we open up our Instagram feed and there's a man or woman in a gym selfie or otherwise, very provocatively posed, which is just like, oh yeah, that's just my friend. I follow wrestlers, that kind of thing. So that does very well there between that and just general visualness of professional wrestling and wrestlers. I think if you're somebody who your audience is on Twitter, and you do need that, I think the stats are the biggest thing. I don't know that streaming is necessary if you're like, I want to be on every platform, bar none. My issue is, I don't think it's worth AwesomeCast paying what it is to be streaming on there. Like literally the only thing we were using it for $8 a month is to stream this show there, and we're already streaming on 5 other platforms, So I don't see the benefit quite in that. Maybe a little bit of exposure. The nice thing is, if you are streaming on Twitter, you know why you're doing really good? Because not a lot of people are streaming on Twitter right now. You remember when like Meerkat and Periscope came out and everybody had amazing numbers because you were the first ones there? Twitter has reinvented the first mover's advantage. By taking it away from everybody and making you pay for the bare minimum function of it. We can talk about the ethics of this all day long on another podcast, but that is the fact of where we're at. And if you want it, you have to pay for it. Is it worth it for you to pay for it? It's not worth me to pay $8 a month across 3-4 different accounts to do so. But if I'm in a position where I need the stats to be able to make that worthwhile, and this is one that keeps popping up too. It's like, you can make money from Twitter, but you have to pay us first. Yes, and then you have to do like 1 million subs. Like the qualifications are you need something like 1 million followers in order to even think about making a penny off of them. So there's that. I have not looked at it as much as see if we get a boost from being on there. Supposedly more people see you in your replies if you pay for this. Another kind of icky kind of thing that we know Facebook does this as well. They're just not as upfront with it, I think, with that idea. So do not fret over it if you don't think that it's a feature that you need. If the audience is there and having things like statistics and a little bit more control and live streaming are something that does feel like a benefit to you, then I think it's worth $8 a month. That's a small price to pay for it. And again, just because I have multiple accounts, I'd love to have all these features on my personal account, but that's not going to make me money. That's not going to do business for me to be able to do that on my personal account, which is where I'm the most prolific on, right? Because that's the one that opens up and the one that I'm talking with people on half the time. And sharing this content and everything like that. So that's kind of my kind of view of it. Katie, again, dealing with your social media clients, are you kind of on the same page with that? Do you have any other ideas about what this does and doesn't work for as far as clients go?
Yeah, because especially like you had mentioned, if your audience is here, if you are trying to, especially if you're trying to show your clients, like your customers, like beyond it, we're on Twitter. Everybody's talking about Twitter. Where are we at on Twitter? Here you go. Like that's maybe do it. But like for us and a lot of our clients we use Social Pilot, and that pulls reports across all the social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Does it deep dive like Twitter analytics that you're paying for? Probably not. Mm-hmm. So that's where it would come in handy, because you're probably going to really figure out like how far your stuff is going versus like just basic numbers.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that you have to pay for transparency to a certain extent. I can't speak too much to that because I think about my podcast host because there's you pay more to get better stats on your podcasting. So it's not a new concept. Again, everything is colored by the idea of this site has been owned by and presented in a certain way for over a decade, and the sudden change is, I think, a whiplash for some of us that, and we've talked about, like, we have an emotional attachment, if you will, to this platform, because that's where a lot of us found each other. I mean, it's like your favorite bar closing because that's where everybody hung out. Kind of thing. Or your new bar got bought by a TGI Fridays, and now that's what it is. That's probably actually pretty accurate, right? It's where we hung out, and the memories are here, but it kind of looks and smells different and not better, and it's more expensive, right?
Did this place used to be a Pizza Hut?
Yes. Katie, thank you so much. And at least we'll always have Plurk.
Yeah. Always rap. I know. I need to add that to my website.
You oh my god. You should just put at the bottom smaller text. Right?
Plurk. Find me on Plurk. Plurk with me.
K Dutters PGH, and or Kate Murray PGH across social medias. Or just go to your website, katiedudas.com.
Yep. And then you can see me on TV.
There you go. And on the TV. And on TV near you.
I'm very tall, especially when you put me next to other anchors.
What was the comment about that? Hold on, let me pull it up. Go ahead.
Let's say, Dutters, you're tall when you put yourself next to most humans. Except when you and Sorg are next to each other. In that case, you can't tell because you're...
Last week, we did a show with how tall is Pretty Boy Smooth? 6'10", maybe 9, 6'9".
6'9".
So there's myself and Katie, who are let's just say we're well clear of 6 foot. And then this poor Bradley is like, I am the shortest of four people in this room right now, sitting on the couch, and yeah, I get it.
Partner, I gotta show. I'll show you the photo of me, and I'm holding PB's belt and standing next to him, and I think the phrase was, "I look like a Make-A-Wish child,"
Yes.
because I was so excited with a wrestler's belt and like short.
This is the picture. This is the thumbnail from your appearance on KDKA. And it was like, it's like they're seeing their children off to school.
Yeah, I was the child going back to school.
Especially John with his hands in his pockets and the shirt open like that.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Thanks, Mom. Oh my gosh. Dave Bonner, iPhoneography podcast, and now we know all your stats.
Yeah, all the stats. Yes.
Thank you so much. At Sorgatron on all the social media. I am going to Washington, D.C. on Friday. Going to be hanging out doing, hanging out. I'm working, but for the New Japan Wrestling show at, was it D.C. Arena or something? I don't know. We have a parking pass from, I've never been there before. This is my first time. Missy's been there twice. So we're going to do some work with them on production, having some fun with that. If you want to check out, again, this is wrestling, but if you want to see, we had a very big day in video production doing NWA Exodus Pros first live stream show, first show actually seen outside of people that are there. And we've been working with them, at least collecting the footage here for almost a year. You can see that we were on the National Wrestling Alliance YouTube page. NWA Wrestling's YouTube. I think it's up to like 17,000 views right now. We had amazing numbers. It was a great show. We almost, I wouldn't say almost flawless, but no show's flawless. Even the big ones I went watching over the weekend. So really excited about that. If you want to see what we can do when we have our team and everything comes together and clicks, and we have some really great wrestlers in there, like including the NWA champ EC3, who you might have seen on television currently or in the past. So no, it was a lot of fun and a great team that we're working with. I can't say enough about that, and I probably will say more about it on the Wrestling Mayhem show this evening. So if you want to tune in there for that. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for supporting us and watching or listening for 700 episodes. Wait, Dave, you got to go get the cookie cake.
Oh,
We got to show them at least
okay.
on the show. I got a picture at least. But we do have a celebratory cookie cake, and we're going really late, so I don't know if we're going to do a Patreon at this point. So he's moseying for the cookie cake. And it's incoming, so we have to at least get that visual. Maybe that'll be the cover art. I don't know. There you go. There's the cookie cake. Happy 700th episode. Thank you so much for that. And my waistline thanks you too. Thank you guys so much. You have been our awesome audience. Have an awesome week. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Bye. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at Sorgatron.